Yeah, the person needs to listen to Black Lives Matter by Bold Blacks.
Sienna, women of color, that their methods of protest are wrong. And also the Albanes being people of color who are cultists. No. And Gira and Kali even have Indian names, so why are they white as heck? Even beyond that, the fact that all of Team Ruby is white is not only problematic, but bizarre. Again, Vale is on the equator, so should not everyone from Vale be dark-skinned naturally? And to make matters worse, when Team Ruby is fighting the Aesops, who are essentially the cops, it means you basically have the protagonists as white characters fighting authority, with the cops.
Yeah, it's called people on Twitter are fucking crazy and they spurg out, and the creators of the show haven't wisened up to the fact that it's never enough. Like this is them trying to placate you, okay? They like it's trust me, it's just because the rules don't make any sense, because it's just haphazard, doesn't actually adhere to any sort of like logic or reason or anything like that that can be followed reasonably by a person at all. It's all haphazard, and they're just trying to do their best and not get fucking called racist on Twitter, honestly, at this point.
You're all as people of color.
Get some nasal spray for that.
And now, as you've noticed, we're starting to move into Ruby's problem with depicting people of color in general, beyond just the Faunus allegory. Sienna, Ilya, and the Albanes, all people of color, and all villains who die, go to jail, or get redeemed by the white-as-hell Belladonnas. There's also an issue where characters are not voiced by actors who match their backgrounds, which is pivotal for accurate representation. Some argue that in voice acting it does not matter, and I used to share that viewpoint, but it is wrong.
I've been conditioned otherwise. It's wrong. I just said it's wrong. It's wrong, okay? I am obeying my conditioning.
The least you could do is have them be portrayed by people with their background, especially because voice actors of color often find themselves struggling to get roles that white actors are able to get rather easily.
Historically, white voice actors generally did the voices for cartoon characters of all races. Cree has thrived in a space that has often overlooked people who look like her.
I mean, let's face it, I do the voices of all the brown girls, all the animated brown girls. There still ain't that many.
Like, imagine with me if Coco's voice cast was all white. Do you think you could call it true to Mexican culture then?
I love when people of color come up to me and say, you don't know what it meant to me to see myself in a cartoon. I got one little black...
How the fuck do they see themselves in your voice if you're not... Okay, that never happened. Okay, that's probably the answer, is that it probably didn't actually happen. And everyone clapped, right? Everyone clapped after that, right? And then you got your Reddit gold.
A girl that I get to see that looks like me. Thank you so much. Oh, I get off on that. That's great.
You literally don't get seen.
Which actually segues into our first example, and one my friend Blake on Twitter, hi Blake, mentioned to me quite a long time ago, and I dismissed it because I was a dumbass. Why is Maria not voiced by a Mexican voice actress? Her character is steeped in references to the Day of the Dead, La Dia de los Muertos, a holiday that is native to Mexico, and her design is filled with calaveras, which is the literal term for the skulls used during the Day of the Dead.
She honestly looks like an Indian, like a Native
That's literally
American.
what her last name is. Also, on a petty note on Blake's behalf, why is Maria's color scheme and design so drab? You based her on a holiday filled with vibrant colors, and you gave her blues that are murky and washed with grays. I thought color was important to the show, so why is everything so dull? Oh, and even more plugs. If you want a show that does Latinx representation correctly, I really recommend One Day at a Time.
I've been told by Latin American people that that's a fucking slur, you bigot. Alright? I've been told by people of Mexican heritage that that's a fucking slur. You're a racist, sweetheart. Sorry. That's just the rules.
Finished the whole show in like a week, and it rekindled my will to live.
They're saying I only got in because I'm Cuban. An award for being Cuban? Finally!
I don't care if Spanish does not exist in Remnant. If you have
So a
characters with
sitcom made
Australian
you
and
feel
English
better
accents,
and
If it
wanted to
happened to
live.
Coco, it can happen to anyone.
Afraid it comes with a price, though, love.
and this world can be literally anything you want because it's fantasy, Maria can speak casual Spanish, because speaking Spanish is a huge part of how Latinx people embrace their culture. Like, Every episode of One Day at a Time has all the family members using Spanish words and phrases constantly, and it's really endearing, and it makes me realize just how white Maria is written.
Like, no lie, dude. No lie. This is getting kind of racist. What? Why? Oh, why aren't these Mexican people being on? Why aren't these Mexican people authentic? Just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Authentic? What? We're almost done.
She's basically just a white woman in Mexican garb.
Can we agree that if there is a god, it's gender neutral, not a he or a she?
No! God is a man! If he were a woman, there would be less problems!
Then you've got Yang, Tai Yang, and Sun, all who have Chinese names, and Sun is even based on Chinese story.
I 100% agree. I 100% would say that a devout Spanish Catholic would probably like smack the living shit out of somebody who was like portraying them in a TV show that said something like that. Holy crap. It's like God can't be a woman. There wouldn't be so many problems. Like, wow, okay, Fedora Tipper.
But rather than
this
them
is
being
getting really
Chinese
racist,
or perhaps mixed, they're all voiced by white people. Chinese culture isn't really depicted as part of their aesthetics, and in the cases of Yang and Tai, their appearances seem more Caucasian than Chinese. In these cases, the Chinese names appear to have been appropriated rather than part of who they all are. There's also this argument around Sun and Neptune being whitewashed, as pointed out by...
By the way, these characters were created by a fucking Asian dude. Okay.
By Crimson over on Twitter. Admittedly, I did not see it initially, but their skin tones have indeed been lightened in recent volumes. Volume 6 at the latest. To the point Sun at least could pass for white, which is not good. His last name is Wukong, and he's based on the Monkey King from Chinese mythology with the same literal name. Why would he not be Chinese rather than white? And I
Chinese people aren't monkeys.
That even slightly lightening a character of color's skin and trying to reason it away as part of the color palette or the lighting or any artistic
Probably
stuff
was.
is just beyond wrong. Then we've got Pietro, who I really liked as representation of a disabled person of color, until it was pointed out to me how screwed up it is that when he decided to build a daughter for himself, he chose to make her white. Like, why? Why is the ideal child this Geppetto wants a white girl? We already have a fair-skinned ginger in Nora, so why couldn't Penny have been a person of color from the start? Is white just a default? A robot or...
Probably because the character was designed before the person who made her was designed. Pretty easy to understand. It's not hard. It's not hard to understand. Not hard to understand. We're almost done. We're almost done. We're almost done.
Android like Penny can have any skin color you want precisely because it's artificial, and it's meant to resemble a living person because, as Ruby points out, Penny is a living thing, unlike the cold gray Elysian Nights. So, in whatever case, a lifelike robot would probably look like its creators or resemble the culture the creators inhabit. So then, why wouldn't Pietro make a black android? Why was his go-to
one was developed
to make
before
her
the
white?
other?
Because that was a conscious choice in universe. I will say this as many times as I must, white is not the default. And Flint.
What is
God,
the default?
There's
What's the
no way to
default?
get around this. The entire idea of his character is rooted in racism. For starters, he's based on a meme from the Achievement Hunters Minecraft Let's Play, where jokes were made about a character being named Flint Cole, and how because of his name, he would have to be black. So let's make him a black character whose last name is Cole.
That'd be a cool name, Flint Cole.
You'd
Skater
have
Man
to be
mystery
black,
type.
though, right?
I don't think so. You're racist.
You think, oh, that's not racist. You can't have a white guy named Flint Cole.
Why not?
It just doesn't work out that way.
Why not?
You're anti-white.
Yeah, you're right. I hate you, whiteys.
Kill me. There's also the fact that they made him a
Well, you know, we don't fed post on here. Sorry. We don't fed post on here. No fed posting. Fed posting is verboten. Yeah, his design is pretty cool. Like, I like his design. I always thought the character looked kind of cool. But I guess he's a racist. I don't know. Not as racist as the person who made this video, but oh.
Jazz player and made that his big visual motif, that only compounds the issue by basically making his whole character thus far nothing but stereotypes. But to go even further than
His whole
that,
character
and give
thus
him this
far is
backstory
nothing
where
but,
his
like,
father's business was run into the ground
reappearances.
by the Schnees, when historically black-owned businesses have actually been crushed like that by larger white businesses. It doesn't even jive with Remnant's version of racism because Flint isn't a faunus. Yet Flint's righteous anger at Weiss and what she represents is all gone.
How is it righteous anger? She didn't do that. It was her dad. It's not righteous anger. That's just petty bullshit. Like they fixed that after, like, that was being his negative character flaw, was like he held this grudge against somebody who's never actually fucked with him. Huh, okay.
Because Weiss pushed him into a tiny volcano during a fight to save a teammate.
That was a gutsy move, Schnee. I dig it.
That's what?
Oh no,
I've had
he's
enough of this conversation for tonight.
There have also
Yeah, I've had about enough of this video for tonight, but for probably more valid reasons, honestly.
been issues raised around Sage and Fox being token black characters who have, like, no personality in the main content. Supplemental content is not enough. Ren and Yatsuhashi being problematic depictions of Asian people based in stereotypes, as well as Ironwood
Designed and voiced by the Asian creator of the fucking show.
being low-key Chinese coded and having even been slightly based on Monty's appearance, and his voice actor even supporting the idea of him being mixed, which is a big issue given he's pretty much always been a cold-hearted dictator. But I think
No, he's been the most well-rounded and well-written character for that entire arc, and he was 100% in the right for most of the arc. He was just pushed by the protagonists, who are always portrayed as being the ones in the right, decided to just fucking lie to him after he had a bit of a nervous breakdown after finding out that the person he trusted and put all of his faith in, thought that, to try to save his people, fucking lied to him. It's like, huh, this is a good written character. Huh, weird. We're almost there.
Ruby not only has problems with the White Fang storyline, but it seems to have fundamental issues not between people of color and Chinese.
No, I'm enjoying my anger at this stupid video. Holy shit.
Ruby is rife with issues, as we've made abundantly clear. In its attempt to try and build a fantastical equivalent to our world's bigotry, it stumbled, revealing many biases of the creators that I doubt they even realized they had. The way people of color are portrayed, the lack of accurate casting when it comes to characters of color, and everything involving the White Fang, it kind of made me very angry at myself for missing all of this for years. And the thing is, Ruby does have...
Oh no, sweet person. There's so many valid reasons to be upset with yourself at this point. Holy shit. Oh.
And I think that's why so many of us felt suckered by it. Celtic Phoenix basically set the standard for rewriting the show because people were that bothered. A trend which I continued, inadvertently wallowing in the existing problems of the show without realizing it. And I know many of us were head over heels for Bumblebee as representation, when really, it's nowhere near the level that we deserve, and used to distract from bigger issues regarding race in the show. We could have had an interesting battle of ideas about the different forms of protest. We could have kept Adam and Blake's abusive relationship.
No, Ruby is a show this person definitely deserves.
Had the show even bothered tackling any of this with even slightly more nuance than violence bad, ask your oppressors nicely for rights. I really cannot apologize enough for looking at all of this over for so long. I hope I've done right by expressing grievances and have their words ignored by people comfortable in our privileges and
This, like, self-abasing thing is pinnacle of fucking slave morality. This is what Nietzsche was talking about. Holy This is slave. This is like the quintessential slave morality. I feel so bad for this person. All the indoctrination that they've gone through.
Lying issues that may not affect us, but have harmed many people and propagated dangerous ideas. I'm gonna have links down in the description.
Wrong thing.
Donate to
Dangerous
Black Lives
ideas.
Matter, along with any other charities helping people of color that I can find.
Black Lives Matter is not a charity.
Shared around because we need to do better as allies to fight against racism and bigotry. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna go ahead and plug some black and people.
Okay, we're all fucking over now, I think, right? Yeah, we're over. This is the 15 minutes, 10 minutes of this shit? No. No, I don't think so. Okay. Okay, we're all done. We're all done. And then we can purge that from our fucking memory. Okay. Alright, palate cleanser time.
Steven Universe is
Wait, does this one say shit?
this is shit.
Okay.
I suppose I should support my claim, but it's just too depressing how terrible this show is.
Bitch, I will.
I've slogged through all of it too, every cringy, mind-numbing, spirit-rending minute of it, even though I fell asleep every couple of episodes because it was somehow even more boring than The Legend of Korra.
I feel like such a failure.
Did I mention that this show is shockingly bad?
What?
But most everybody who disagrees with that assessment will never not disagree with it. So this review is for all you folks who couldn't stomach.
Oh, that sounds like a good idea, Von Krieg, but I'll get hit with copyright shit for that. But yeah, Brave Shine is a pretty good opening.
This shit pile. Don't worry, you're not alone. Spoilers ahead, everybody. Steven Universe is one of the many generic, flatter than Hanna-Barbera cartoons on the We Couldn't Successfully Imitate the Disney Channel network. It was created by Rebecca Sugar, a Jew, the network's first female creator, and written by Matt Burnett and Ben Levin, two super white, presumably straight males? Oh dear, women. You still can't make your own cartoons? A little sad, don't you think? I guess this is checkmate, feminists. Oh, hold on. What do we have here, Matt? God forbid, a Christian. Wink, wink. A piece of media not include super masculine, self-insert, superpowered hero characters for straight males to identify with. Steven Universe is about a young boy with a chromosomal disorder that puts his IQ squarely around room temperature. He's also fat as fuck. He's looked after by his lesbian moms, Garnet, Pearl, and Amethyst. Yes, they're lesbians, and we'll get to that.
But I see that you are responsible parents. Caregivers? Guardians.
The moms are called the Crystal Gems, and they're from a race of sexless, sapient, shapeshifter rock aliens that aren't women, but they're women. But they're not really women, except they're women. So well played, Rebecca Sugar. That's precisely how you get shit past the censor. So the show's about this fatso and his moms going on adventures and protecting the Earth from other gems? Yeah, they haven't been real clear on why the gems are fighting their own kind, or why in a world that's apparently constantly plagued by gems, nobody seems to give a shit. But we can chalk that up to the show's glorious world building, which we'll get into in a moment. Now, if I did a play-by-play of every mistake.
This is palate cleansing for the soul. This is a video review by E:R, which I highly encourage people to subscribe to.
Made in every episode of this show. We'd be here for around 20 hours and ain't nobody got time for that. Luckily, I don't have to do this, because almost every episode of this show is the same fucking episode. In fact, Steven Universe follows a formula as reliable as Phineas and Ferb's, only without the self-awareness or the once-in-a-blue-moon clever writing. Here's how the formula goes. So
I've been thinking a lot about things, about shit with Saul and Mitch and Scorpion, about the family I had lost, left, adopting. Didn't know it'd be this fucking complicated. I don't get what's happening to me. I'm in this city, free to do whatever I want, my life, but fuck, am I really free if I left my old life just because things started to get a little inconvenient? What would mean I'm always going to be running? Does that make sense? Okay. Ellie? Is that Ellie? It is Ellie.
My, oh my, look at him, so handsome.
I'm looking for some decent outerwear.
You're in luck. Our prices are out of this world. Get it?
Ugh. And what is this? $5,000 for an epic. Current capacity. Okay. No cool upgrades. But what is this? Crafting. Protective padding. Huh. Ooh. Ashura. Frags. Penetrate to a hit. Widowmaker is pretty cool. Oh, Overwatch. So I can disassemble her Overwatch because I can make it if I need it. But this... Not much there. Wait a minute. We've seen this report dog. Oh, there's a report dog right here. What I do need is check my journal. Voodoo boys. I finish this and then I go talk more. Cinnamon. Ah. Okay, let's do this.
Now, for some reason, the gems have to stop other meanie gems from fucking up the Earth, and I don't know why.
Rose Quartz believed all life was precious and worth protecting.
They were doing something awful to the planet, and your mother couldn't stand it anymore. She told me that's why she had to turn on her own kind. Why? Why not?
And there's this evil force called the Cluster incubating in the Earth's core, and it wants to eat the planet, I think. And the gems aren't really doing anything about it, other than there's a plan to make a drill to try and reach the cluster, but I have no idea how that would help, and nothing has come of it anyway. So... What the fuck? And you get to catch teeny tiny glimpses of this world building buried in hours upon hours of mist.
Stu Man in the house, what you got? What you got? I got Mom's cream pie. Corn.
Ew.
I say it all the time, this is what happens when cunts don't fucking grow up with a positive male role model.
Then there's the real subject of Steven Universe's praise, the lesbians.
Take my laugh, you savage. You're embarrassing me in front of Steven.
You see kissing on the lips all the time. It's like when you're getting like into like the neck and the chest and stuff like that. Just like, wow, something about that seems like just a little more sexualized than what I'm used, at least what I'm used to seeing in kids show. I'm not saying it's bad.
Yeah, but they're
I'm saying
in
I
love.
don't usually see. No, I'm not saying it's.
But not really though, because they're not.
Paul Walker was kind of a bug man. Kind of a massive fucking bug man. Ugh.
Technically women, but gems, okay? Remember that, guys. They're not women. The gems are not binary or sexually dimorphic, okay? You got that? They still go by female pronouns and take the forms of unambiguously humanoid females, but they're not female, okay? Hey, these lesbians here, these lesbians, they're not women. They're not lesbians either. They're strong, independent gems, okay? Not women. And I mean, everybody loves the portrayal of women and how there's finally queer representation for the mentally ill, but they're not gems. I mean, they're not lesbians. They're gems. They're non-lesbian, non-women who are into chicks, but they're not women. What? Let's be real, the crystal gems are women. Okay. And they're all lesbians with this giant pink one named Rose, who was in Lesbians with Steven's dad, which might sound contradictory at first, but when you realize just how much he looks like a lesbian. Oh yeah, and Rose is dead. And now she's kind of Steven, so the crystal gems use him as a kind of proxy lesbian. A bit disturbing, but I'll let it slide. It's no more disturbing than these two being so in lesbians with each other that when they have lesbo sex, they turn into a black man. Did I mention that there's lesbian sex in this show? Wait, I'm sorry. It's called fusion.
And I think Steven has lesbian sex and becomes lesbian sex with all of his moms as well as his dad. Very weird, but
Linda Salazar,
see,
you called,
to these provocative
to give you my congrats on breaking that mega story. Girl, you ruined his life. I did.
No.
And
It's
heroine
just their
scene 300
transformation
doesn't quite feel
sequence.
like it adds up.
Much like this is
It
a
was so
transformation
noble too, though. I bet we'll make the next snake from Biotechnica think twice about his job. For the boy who poses more innocence and cold blood, I'm skeptical. I know. Just my thoughts going on a minute. You know, are you afraid of any blowback? Angie, who do you think I got all the dirt from? Or whose hard drive rather? Pervert.
If I ever
His
talk to
body's a
ER, I
Biotechnica, got it in my hands. Trust me, I've got nothing to worry about.
Pearl, come on, I want to see.
Yep, not subjective. Not suggestive.
It's 2015, people. 2015.
Kids these days, I'll tell you what.
Oh, wait a minute. Isn't this rape?
You need to tell Garnet it was you.
I don't understand.
I'm sorry. It's just so much fun being sardonyx with you.
You tricked me.
No, we just needed a reason to fuse. I just wanted to share a few more victories with you. No, we just needed a reason to fuse. No, we just needed a reason to fuse.
No, we just needed a reason to fuse.
You know, we're so much weaker than you. Fusing with you is like our one chance to feel stronger. I can't believe Peridot is giving us so much trouble. But it hardly matters.
Right, Garnet?
Holy shit, Sugar, this is getting a little dark. But in spite of this scene, the show is apparently teaching kids the wonders of consent. Because as this comment so wonderfully communicates, there are little boys the world over who never learn not to rape. So it's a beautiful thing, really, to teach kids how to properly consent to rape. Because otherwise, how would the kids know not to rape?
Kids love rape. The fusion aspect is one of the most intriguing, acting as a stand-in for physical relationships. It's why a part of me broke watching Keeping It Together. The fucking irony. I watched two characters that I have grown to love and know face a forced fusion, wherein beings were combined into a monstrous, hellish mass of limbs without their consent. One of the heroes, Garnet, usually cool and collected, trembles as it approaches, her eyes wide in fear. They were forced together. They were forced to fuse. This is wrong.
A children's show, everybody. Meanwhile, Rebecca Sugar herself has admitted quite pridefully that Steven Universe was intended to tear down and play with the semiotics of gender in cartoons for children. Hey, a little trivia for you. Did you know that gender is a social sciences term from 1955, coined by a sexologist named John Money?
I did not.
Gender is defined as the state of being male or female, typically used with reference to social and cultural differences rather than biological ones. In layman's terms, gender is not your biological sex, but what you mentally think is your sex. Now, some of you might be thinking that the brain is biological, and so there literally couldn't be any separation of your mental state from your biology. To put it another way, there'd be no meaningful separation between the terms gender and sex. But John Money thought differently. He thought if, say, a boy were socialized enough to be a girl, that boy could fundamentally be a girl. That is to say, he thought there were no innate differences between males and females, contrary to the entire field of biology. Now, John Money was unable to get anybody to take his gender pet project seriously until a boy by the name of David Reimer came along. Upon birth, David lost his willy during the penile mutilation ritual, and so Money found the perfect opportunity to swoop in and perform a bout of human experimentation. He had the infant boy's testicles lopped off, replaced it all with an artificial vagina, and then had the parents raise David to be a girl while undergoing hormone treatments. Furthermore, he had David, as a young child, imitate sex acts with his twin brother to normalize David as a bottom. Money even had the brothers undress and engage in genital inspections, which he took a photograph of on at least one occasion. Money described the experiments as successful, though David never ended up identifying as a woman and described his visits with Money as traumatic, but whatever.
gosh, we're back. Oh gosh, we're back. We're back. 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 We're back. We're back in black. But I'm back. I'm back. Alright. Holy crap. I'm gonna launch face rig and hopefully it won't crash my computer again.
Oh, shit. He's in rough shape, but alive. Let's hear what Dennis has to say.
Hey, got a status? Find the package?
He's a little worse for wear, but no issues. What's next?
I prepared a car for you. Put the man in the trunk and head to Northside. The address is in the GPS.
Okay.
One more thing. Watch for tigers. They've got their sights trained on your new companion.
Wait, what? Asshole hung up.
down there. Aha, so you have to pick up the body for them to show up. So we pick it up and drop it, and now, yep, now they're here. Bing. How many of them are there? Uh-oh. Fuck. No.
Who's gonna see people are they gonna say they have a reputation for being successful? I'm gonna and I take my word as gospel because I have lived through it. Who else are you gonna listen to? Who else is there? I've lived it. Is it gonna take somebody who might have come in with social so that they get to people to listen?
There isn't a single shred of evidence supporting the existence of gender in humans or the rest of the animal kingdom for that matter. So remember, kids, when you use the term gender, you're using the
Gender doesn't exist, lol. Pretty
experimentation, tortured a pair of twin boys and drove them both to suicide and got away with it. But I'm sure there's nobody else who would want to experiment on children with such a thing. Now, what else is Steven Universe producing? Oh yeah, one of the more popular talking points for not being Steven Universe. You're going to hear a lot about how it pays homage to a whole host of anime, like Dragon Ball. Or Sailor Moon in Revolutionary for Utena. Among others from the Mahou Shoujo, the
Mahos. Oh, jeez.
Although I enjoy the perspective, and I've hated everything I've seen of the Mahou Shoujo genre. Yes, even Full Magi Madoka Magica. So it comes as no surprise that a bastardized fusion of those things would utterly fail to tickle my fancy.
We just needed a reason to fuse.
Then there's the fandom for Steven Universe. This shit writes itself, folks. I haven't seen a fandom more hated, more despised, more vilified than the Steven Universe fandom. It's apparently worse than fandoms for My Little Pony.
Oosh. Ban all bronies.
No, 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 of course not.
Or Five Nights at Freddy's.
I like Markiplier.
Doctor Who, or Sherlock, or Evangelion. Too deep for you, faggot! Not sure if it's worse than the Supernatural fandom because, ooh, baby. But the list goes on and on. The Steven Universe fandom is so bad that there's practically a fandom for hating their fandom.
It's true.
But why are they the worst, ER Senpai? Here's a list. My favorite one was this whole debacle with a fan artist on Tumblr going by the handle Zammy. Now Zammy had drawn up a great deal of Steven Universe fan art that wasn't quite meeting Tumblr's standards.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god, I love this gift set!
For instance, take this depiction of Steven and his parents. Not bad. Girl's got talent. Notice any differences though?
Fujo's do
Tumblr
ruin
sure as
everything.
fuck did, and they went hog wild on this girl, hounding her for her fat phobia and all of her other not so internalized phobias and isms. There's a lot of them. You can find a link in the description to a Tumblr that's compiled all of Zammy's horribly oppressive transgressions.
Are the crystal gems will always save the day. And if you think we can, we'll always find a way.
Now, all of this hounding allegedly led up
It's
to
like,
a suicide attempt by Zammy, and the hounding did.
It's like poetry. It just rhyme. It's weird. We go from one thing to another. It's like poetry.
It led up even as she was recovering in a hospital.
God, you're not the only one in Arcadia Bay with problems. Kate Marsh almost killed herself. Such sad, okay?
And when one of the show's executive producers, Ian Jones Cordy, condemned the Tumblrinas for what they were doing, saying anybody could draw whatever fan art they wanted. Well, that was no good, so they turned up a piece of Sugar's fan art from several years back, depicting two youngins from Ed, Ed, and Eddie having illicit relations, to put it delicately. So now, according to a vocal slice of Tumblr, Sugar promotes child porn. And when you take all of this into consideration, it's hard not to see why there's such a widespread internet consensus. It well and truly seems to be the case that the Steven Universe fandom is officially the worst.
We can still save this. Why don't we just bag these up to go and...
I wonder what exactly drew these sorts of people to this show. Sure, it appears to stem from Tumblr, but why is that, I wonder? What attracts them?
The show does a lot of interesting things with gender. Steven is not your stereotypical aggressive little boy. He's pretty feminine. Another thing that I absolutely love about the show is that so many of the characters are played by awesome people. There's also a lot of
Oh yeah, I was muted. Sorry. Sorry about that. Oh. Whew. That was a little edgy.
You don't wanna fuck with me?
Another ER video, I think. This one might not be Eliza. Oh.
I remember.
Do you know who you are?
I'm the Avatar.
Are you gonna deal with it?
No, 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 no.
Hello there, my name is ER. That's spelled E:R. And you may know me from such videos as Two Girls, No Town, and The Gems Did Everything Wrong. A little something about myself. I love Avatar. It's one of my favorite animes. Hey, it was animated in Korea just like the rest of them. But as with anything well made and well liked, producers know they can sell shitty knockoffs by calling them sequels. And so the legend of Korra was born. I dealt with it rather poorly. But in case you'd rather not watch an hour and a half of a guy's bumbling first attempts with a video editor.
Fuck you. What the fuck? Fuck. Who the fuck? Fuck this fucking house. Fuck.
Now, when I find fellow horror haters, I can divide them into 4 distinct flavors. Those like me, who find the show irredeemable in nearly every aspect. Those who are mostly ambivalent toward the show until they had their hetero lenses rudely knocked off. Those who consider the first 2 seasons, and maybe even the final season, absolutely terrible, but mistakenly find the 3rd season alright. And those who hated everything, including the 2nd season, but for some reason still like the Avatar 1 episodes. And to those people, I say, what the fuck is wrong with you? Yes, there's a lot of bullshit in the 2nd season. Believe me, I'm aware.
I don't even know what to say.
But within this season, I believe are 2 episodes with the most concentrated levels of bullshit. And those are the Avatar 1 episodes, beginnings part 1 and 2. To me, they are pretty much the picture-perfect encapsulation of everything
my
this show
lottery
gets
box
wrong.
stuff
And
right
guess
now for a little
fucking
bit.
why. Wait, what? Tim Hendrick? The guy who wrote The Desert and the Ember Island Players? Oh shit, tell me it ain't so. So sit back, kick up a leg, and join me as I nitpick the shit out of these 2 episodes from a cartoon for children. This is gonna be rather informal, kinda like a watch-along sort of deal, because I don't want to do a lot of editing. Let us begin.
Let us leave.
We're in serious trouble. This guy is nuts.
Nick is fucking dead!
Only the Avatar.
This Aang statue still slays me. Excluding Korra herself and Republic City, it's one big fat dump on his legacy, and it front loads every episode. Roku and Kyoshi got these rinky-dink totems, and Aang's got this ostentatious, fuck you Ozai, my staff is bigger monument.
And I got a bigger dick.
I've learned to laugh at it.
The Avatar has gone missing.
Really cheesy shoehorn gimmick reflecting Brian Konietzko's hard-on for the Roaring Twenties. It sounds as stupid as it is.
Headed to the Fire Nation, seeking a new ally against Ulala.
Wait, against Ulala?
She is washed up on a desolate island with no memory of who she is.
It's a soap opera. I'm watching a soap opera. Fucking spontaneous amnesia. Not only is it just the laziest narrative device ever contrived, it's not even really necessary here. But you'll see what I mean. Wait a minute. Are those those fire sages? Why are there more fire sages? Okay, there would probably be more fire sages than just those who maintained Crescent Island. It still feels inelegant.
Water's not wet. Shut up.
Oh my god, Azula?
We found the Avatar washed up on shore.
Wait a goddamn minute. Why is a woman talking? Why is there a female fire sage? Fire sages are supposed to be religious authorities, you know, part of a boys-only club. But it looks like in the past 70 years there's been a rise in affirmative action, hasn't there? It's amazing how diversity can destroy centuries-old institutions in a handful of decades like this, just like in my world.
But she doesn't remember anything. Bravo. Rava.
So, chronologically, she's not supposed to know who and what Rava is yet, but, you know, since she's an amnesiac, she can foreshadow her own discoveries, right? Yeah, that makes sense.
Rava.
Okay, ER has real life shit going on, most likely.
Did she just set her hands on fire?
Old people burning, old people burning, put your hands up.
A dark energy has infected her. We must purge it before it destroys her avatar spirit.
Alright, what the fuck? Since when could firebenders use their fire to sense spiritual energy? I sure as hell don't remember Iroh blazing it up here. Or here.
You have been touched by the moon spirit. Some of its life is in you.
Or here.
I've heard rumors about your journey into the spirit world.
No, he was just a level 52 guru master and a certified badass. Hey, does anyone remember that it used to be special when a character was so attuned to the spirit world and not every Tom, Dick, and Granny had that aptitude? Screw it, though!
Let the waters cleanse the darkness that plagues your spirit.
Oh, okay. Okay, this is apparently spirit water, which, you know, used to come only from the spirit oasis at the North Pole, probably because spirits resided in it. But now there's a pool of it on some bumblefuck Fire Nation Island, too. Fantastic.
Shrouder. I love those little touches that you don't
Not a
always
big
pick
fan
up
of the purple.
sometimes on.
Just doesn't fit with the color palette of the original spirit world.
Who are you?
I'm you, dumbass. Who am I?
A cunt. I'm sorry they dragged you into this, Aang. I am so sorry.
You are the Avatar.
I don't know what that is.
Never did, sweetheart. And Roku too. Oh no, why?
In order to remember, you must regain your connection with your Avatar spirit.
But aren't you her avatar spirit? Isn't she her own avatar spirit? That's how it worked in the original show. Nope. You'll see. It's quite the surprise.
If you don't, darkness will engulf the world. You will die.
Yoshi, shut up. Just let her fucking die.
How do I regain my connection?
Go back.
You heard him, Hora.
Return to the beginning. Find Rava.
Okay, back to why the amnesia is not even necessary. It's clear that Hora doesn't know who Rava is, but the thing is, she's never known. So what's the point of this? There's no reason that she need to forget her avatarness for this framing device. Aang never needed amnesia to hear about Roku and Kyoshi's past. They were lessons for him, and him expressly, not some empty husk that forgot who he was.
Are you Rava?
No, but I can help you find her. My name is Juan, and I will show you how I became the first Avatar.
Get it? Because he's the first one? The first one?
Terrible.
Alright, right out the gate, I have a pretty big personal problem with Juan's world, and that has to do with the art direction. As you can plainly tell, the background art is stylized to resemble such things as Chinese inkwash paintings and Japanese woodblock art, which lends this ancient Asiatic-like world, well, an ancient Asiatic-like feel. And that's fucking great, but the characters inside of it, on the other hand, look the exact same as they do in Korra's era. And why? Why change the look and feel of the environment, even animate certain things in that style, but then leave the characters as is, jarringly out of place? I hate to draw on what's probably seen as one of Avatar's worst episodes. even though it's miles ahead of this, but it pretty much takes this direction and does it better. The episode has two tribe leaders give their accounts of what happened in the distant past to set the tribes against each other, and their accounts are portrayed in distinct art styles, as depicted here. In the Gon Jinn's account, the line art remains thin, but is more rounded than usual, and the character art exudes a certain exaggeration, making Jin Wei look purposefully majestic and strong, while Wei Jin is sly and scrawny. And in the Zhang's account, you can see the background art has been given a more extreme makeover, with thick, robust, and rather angular line art combined with block coloring and far less fine detail. The character art matches with a cartoony, proportion-defying emphasis, and American comic book-styled inking. The camera angles also use foreshortening and other perspective trickery to emphasize what is happening in each shot. Even Aang's account just chibifies everything. And these styles lend a personality, a certain voice to the characters giving their accounts and the stories they are trying to tell. They all fit rather well. It's just kind of a shame that these particular stories had nothing to do with anything. But here we have all this vibrant personality wafting from the environment, and the characters simply do not match it. Why, for instance, couldn't they have been drawn a bit more simplistically, with thick, airy line art similar to brushstrokes, perhaps? Maybe a little white left around the edges as they're not colored all the way in? That would have been really cool, but I suppose that's asking too much of the Avatar origin story, as opposed to an Avatar filler episode no one liked. What are these, Russian nesting dolls?
Nobody steals from the Chu brothers! Really? Because I just did.
Seriously, he's a piece of shit thief. I have no reason to believe these guys are evil. None. Yeah, that's right, Aladdin. I'm calling you out, you little street rat.
You're dead, Juan. Actually, I feel quite alive.
Savage!
Hey, stop!
Hot damn, Juan, forget the chews. Figure out what the birds are eating, because holy gratuitous shit!
Oh, poop.
Alright, he's just showing off.
What traps are in this game? Stealth and beyond.
Nobody steals from the Chu brothers! The Chu brothers! The Chu! The Chu!
Oh my god, it's all coming together now. Mike confirmed for Skinhead. Oi! Yeah!
Hey, fellas! You're just in time for what? Oh!
This guy is an asshole. What are you doing maneuver, Pikachu?
Enkidu and Quash.
I got nothing to show for it. A few dirty rolls and a whole
Enkidu,
lot
I
of
think, is a
bruises.
dude.
Am I supposed to feel bad for
He
some
bangs
freeloaders
the
living in a
shit.
treehouse? Oh, Jesus Christ, kill him with fire! Seriously, it would be super effective.
Delicious. Thank you, Juan.
You're welcome, Amon.
You guys are hungry too, huh?
Oh, because he feeds the animals, I'm supposed to think he's a good guy. Aw, it's not working.
Juan, you should eat. They need it more than I do.
What? Why? You're making it harder for them to be self-sufficient. You're actively hurting them.
If only there was some way to get into the Chu's food cellar, we'd be eating like...
It's not working.
Well, like Chu's. If Chu the Elder catches you sneaking into his palace, you'll end up dead.
I fucking wish.
Or worse, he'll banish you to the spirit wilds.
Oh, don't get banished. You don't want nothing to do with those spirits. They'll get inside you, scramble up your mind, turn you into this. A monster!
Yeah, but think of all the good pickup lines it's given you. Hey, you happy to see me, or is that just more wood? Is it cold in here? How about you, me? We rub together like faggots and warm things up. Ever drilled a hole in the trunk and drunk the sap straight from it?
Nigga, you gay.
Don't do anything crazy, Juan. You just gotta accept the world is the way it is.
Some people have power, some people don't.
Because some people work for their shit, and some people hang around in their treehouse all day, like freeloading shit bags.
And you don't.
Not yet, anyway.
This place feels pretty empty, I gotta say. Not a whole lot of budget here.
Are you strong? Are you fearless? Do you have what it takes to battle the spirits? Then join the hunt!
Count me in.
We're going to be out in the wilds for a week. You wouldn't last 2 seconds.
Oh! I can handle myself.
Just watching some VR videos.
What do you mean you get fire?
Happy birthday, you crazy motherfucker. Sending you the best wishes and a little present. You got glitter, don't do it all in one go. And other goodies. Hope your fucking party slaps. We'll try to drop by, but can't promise anything. They're making us do overtime at the lab to pump out this glitter shit. Demands off the goddamn charts. Try it and you'll know it. All the best from your chooms on Roving Street. What we got? What we got? What we got? We got... Get the fuck out.
Nice. ERC Knights of Sidonia.
Seriously, you think this guy would be public enemy #1 with this horn of his?
The lion turtle.
Get the fuck out.
Great guardian of our city.
Get the fuck out.
We are venturing into the
Get the
spirit
fuck out.
wilds to bring back
Get the
food
fuck out.
for our people. Please
We
grant us the power of
on
fire.
this one.
The power is yours to keep until
Oh!
your return.
Do it.
That's not how it works, mother.
May the element of fire
Wait a minute.
against the spirits.
Wait, do the lion turtles not like the spirits, or... Oh, so he can use it immediately, without any prior training or foreknowledge or anything. So, great, the whole idea of bending as a martial art, a discipline, and an innate genetic ability, completely wiped from the slate. You hearing me correctly?
Yeah, we're out.
Okay.
Racist
On
shit. It's
par
great.
with waving a fucking wand.
That,
No, not
that
even a
girl was
wand,
really
since the Hogwarts kids still needed genetic predisposition to perform magic. No, this stuff is just free-for-all superpowers. Remember in the original show when bending was said to have been learned from outside forces? You know, through great trial and effort, and it wasn't just given to humanity? When Earthbenders learned it by mimicking the movements of the
Increase damage when attacking from stealth. Silencer reduces damage 15%. 15% is
But no, ER, that still happened. It was
30 damage. So 200 damage on this new thing. Eliminates vertical recoil.
No.
Can I get this mod back? No.
I will show you how I became the first Avatar.
We've been bounty evidence. But the energy within our senses. Bounty evidence.
Yeah, this is way better. Packs, good chance. We'll get better mods for this one, but this is really fucking good.
Except Toph said badger moles were the original
Crafting,
Zuko
upgrades.
said dragons were the original firebenders. Not fucking lion
do
turtles.
it.
Not these people.
Oh,
the
I
lion
need to
turtles
get in.
bestow the elements upon these creatures too? Well, it was ancient times. When the lion turtles disappeared, the old ways of bending must have been forgotten, and benders had to relearn them via nature. Zuko and Toph and everybody else might be misattributing the origins without knowing any better. Oh, okay, so everybody's wrong in Avatar. Yeah, let's just go with that. Oh, except for the teensy-weensy trivial little fact that bending here obviously takes no struggle or exertion at all to perform. All one has to do is punch the fucking air and boom, a fireball to make Shota Zuko look like a flaming pussy. How in the fuck did benders forget the old ways of punching the motherfucking air, huh? Tell me that. Well, it explains how Korra picked up bending as a toddler. Yeah, it does do that. And there you have it, folks. This episode single-handedly retcons the entire bending system. Yes, Korra undermined it, and significantly, but here Wan actually invalidates it. The old system has been made into a lie, and this is part of the reason why I consider these episodes to be the worst of The Legend of Korra. That's right, episodes. Because the buck doesn't stop here. By part 2, it gets even worse.
Let me see if there's no
But
fucking
let's
surprises
continue with this episode for now.
here.
Just make sure you aim at the spirits, not us, okay?
Sure thing.
Oh yeah, I'm sure fire would be real helpful against something like this.
Everyone stay close. Spirits
Maybe.
love to pick off stragglers.
Guys, I don't think
Here's
I
my
can do
bike, and
this.
that's probably
Quit your whining.
his shit. Okay, so
I think I want to go home.
we're fine. Should be
Nothing but a
fine.
sniveling coward. Go give your fire back to the lion turtle.
Come on, man. You trying to tell me no one's pulled this scam before? No one's tried to harness fucking magic for their own fucking gain? You're just gonna let him go back and hope out of the goodness of his heart that he'll give up magic? Okay.
Juan, you're back.
Oh my god, they're actual meats sitting around and playing.
What the fuck is this? How?
Guys, he's literally feeling the burn. He wants to take from the rich and give to the lazy. That's all metaphor,
What
see?
the?
What did you do? You can't steal from the
Gullible college students.
Really? Because I just did.
Gonna have to run from tigers, right? With the guy in the trunk that's completely visible. On a shitty car. Couldn't you get me a better car? Hope he doesn't die.
You know it's forbidden to bring the power of the element into the city. Please, go back to the lion turtle and return the fire. Giant, it's time to stop being so afraid of the troops. And show them we have the power to change things.
What? He's all, no, don't do this, man. And then he puts on his mask and joins in on the shebang? The fuck?
Yeah,
Hey,
about 200
Jews,
boxes for me
open the
both.
gate and let us in.
What are those filthy peasants doing here?
Hand over all the food you're hoarding and we won't give you any trouble.
You're not getting past us. We have the weapons. You're powerless.
Powerless, huh?
Now, check this out.
Surrender yourselves. It's 5 against 2. You're clearly outnumbered.
That's true. But you are clearly outmatched.
Feel the burn!
Money! 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 Grab as much food as you can.
Glad nothing's catching on fire.
I don't think
Might
there's
have
many
to
servants you
handle
could
that.
level up.
Maybe
Well,
you're
good
right.
thing I can sell all of
Maybe
it.
we do have the power to change things.
The fire rises, comrade.
Stop right there! Looks like the Jews found backup. Get everyone out of here. I'll hold them off.
Jeez, all that fire and no one's getting burnt.
Dennis,
Juan sure has great
come
control
on,
for a first
Dennis.
timer, unlike Aang.
Others.
Whoa, budget!
No, please! Have mercy!
Oh, there he is.
Hey! Job's done.
Even when you have the power,
Well done. Excellent work.
great to use it.
Hold
No,
in
he
there, all
clearly
right,
wasn't.
Hariyoshi?
Even when you have the power,
It needs to give you
great to use it.
Between the time of the
Hold on.
So who is this guy?
He'll tell you his story. Hariyoshi?
In Japan, Brain Sergeant, top of all. Good instinct. One day, Tiger Claw boss needs surgery. But both die on table. Tiger Claws were very angry. I hide in boat, swim to America. Here didn't save me. But there is secret. I killed Tiger Claw boss on purpose. World best surgeon make no mistake.
Early warning about the tigers would have been nice.
I had a hunch you'd manage this just fine. Given that you're here now, I see I was right.
This is all very heartwarming, but you haven't paid me yet.
I know, here.
May this blade serve you well.
Scalpel.
What's your name again?
Green Sergeant, World Best. Good instinct.
Uh-huh. So should I get int? Up? Or reflexes? I get int. Highlights access points. Increases the breach time. Unlocks Big Sleep Demon, which disables all cameras for 3 minutes. Pfft, bullshit. Data Demon, increasing the amount of $0 gain. That's not bad. Upgrades mass vulnerability demon, reducing resistances for enemies in the network. Unlocks mass vulnerability. Okay. Reduces the required cyberdeck RAM for quick hacks used on devices by 1 unit. Anything cheaper? Pretty good. Let's see if I can upgrade now this guy. Yeah, I can. Sweet. I need more in to upgrade it. It's funny that you need crafting is in a different spot than, although, you know, not saying I don't like it. I fucked up. I was supposed to take the perk that gives me, okay, once again. Int is fine, but I'm supposed to take the perk that gives me components when I disassemble shit. So I'm doing this. Int, tech ability. I disassemble a lot, so I should probably still keep it until I reach next level when I get the next perk, and then I have 10% to get. For now, disassemble this. Scalpel. Inventory. I wonder. It's not better than this baton. Okay, we save now. Where do we go now? Where do we go? Journal. Cinema. I fought the law. Meet Elizabeth Perales. Look, if a job starts like a classic whodunit, maybe femme fatale. Could do that. Bunch of shit turned lower risk. Full disclosure. Scabs. The Beast and Me. Visit Claire. Afterlife bartender who likes to burn rubber. Illegal street races. No. I'm not very good at driving. Send the to that chick. The bank. Okay, we'll do that one. Oh, and it's not far away. Give me that car. No? Oh, you motherfuckers. What the fuck happened here? I'm so glad I'm on a bike.
Introducing Alois Decan, a deadbeat with a pretentious name. Garl broke my trust and skipped town. Well, fuck him. Only thing I care about now is the data he left in NC. Specifically, what's on his comp. Check the attachment, you'll see what to do.
Type thievery. Fine. Hostile area. We don't kill anyone. Who's this? And how far is he? Scavengers. Okay. Could be killing them. They're fucking pieces of shit, but... I wonder... Does my new gun... reach? Why is weapon glitch not available? I'm gonna save here. And I'm gonna... Yep. Non-lethal headshot. It's right there. Oh shit. It's non-lethal. Labyrinth. So this way or that, or no, the other, by ear or by what, by your gut, by your wits or by shortcut, by any means necessary, cutting crooked corners, past whatever row in a row of corridors and gates quickly. In the meantime, your time grows short from one place to another, to one of many still open, of darkness and plight, but also the light held just ajar, where there's joy through sorrow lies well nigh nearby, and elsewhere somewhere, wheresoever and whereabout, fortune and misfortune, like a parenthetical parenthesis, acceptance of it all, and suddenly a fall. Exit from... Hold on. What is this? Moscow. Polish poet, essay translator, and recipient of the Nobel Prize. Okay. She's like a Nobel Prize. Poet.
Yeah, down with the rich. Fuck the 1%. The lion turtle will just give us free powers. We don't have to work for anything. I wonder how many Israeli flags they're going to burn with that.
You ready to go, Mullah? You sure you want to leave? Yes.
The all-powerful spirits are battling. They're gonna wipe out the entire valley.
Exposition!
What? Okay, I'm getting perks and handguns. This is pretty good. Liberty.
Oh, giant.
Yeah, I'm
rocket
okay
spirits.
with this. I'm okay with more Fuba.
Again, the entirety of the conflict will be set up by Juan being a
But
fucking idiot.
it's worse because
It does. Please, save me. She has tormented me for 10,000 years.
10,000 years.
1,000 years of darkness.
Why 1,000?
perk.
962 years, but
Technical
1,000
ability.
sounds more ominous.
10%, 15%. 15% is gonna be fine.
Yeah, this guy is officially worse than Cora.
You have performed a great service for the spirits.
Do you realize what you've done?
Yeah. I helped the spirit who was being bullied by you.
You self-righteous little cunt.
I was keeping him under control.
And what gives you the right?
You don't even know who I am, do you?
Okay, I'll take
Should
a
I?
look at that for a minute.
Yes. My name is Rava. Rava. That spirit you freed is Vatu. He is the force of darkness and chaos.
Oh, so the guy spirit represents chaos and darkness, huh?
I am the force of light and peace.
Yeah, they all like to think that.
I have kept darkness under control and the world in balance. Until you came along.
So, by freeing Vatu,
Abdragger, work
let
smarter,
chaos into
not
the world.
harder.
And it's all your fault.
V.
Rava.
You're V, right?
I found
You find the data bank?
You didn't do shit, bitch. Who would have fucking
Someone's back in
guessed?
tip-top shape. Trauma must have put you back together in no time.
Yep. Good as new. Still, if not for you, wouldn't have been anything left to put back together. Never got the chance to thank you properly. Wasn't there someone else with you? Big guy? Whenever you get a chance, tell him I said thanks.
I feel bad for ER. Gosh, what the hell now? Am I still live on YouTube?
Jackie's, sure, I'll pass it on. Knowing Jackie, though, he'd probably take that as his cue to ask for your number and call you up for a date. But that'll never happen, because Jackie, never mind. I'm sure you got a lot on your plate.
Is everything okay?
Sure, yeah, of course.
So, did you find my data bank?
Right to the chase, huh? Well, you'll never guess where I found it. A scav hunt. Sandra, you there?
Yeah, it's just that, well, ever since they told me what happened, I just can't stop seeing them. I figured they must have had it. But, you know, it's not like I was gonna go looking for it myself after. I keep telling myself it's over. The ones who took me are gone.
I think I might have. Uh-oh.
Listen, you've got
I think I
Trauma
might have
Team
gotten
Platinum.
nuked for the
Couldn't be in
ER
better
video.
hands. I'm sure they already fixed the Sig Jammer exploit.
Well, shit.
True. But who knows what the scavs will cook up next time? Anyway, that's all in the past now. Got bigger fish to fry.
You want to talk about it?
It's nothing. Just bring the data back to my apartment. Sending you the address now.
Thanks.
Wait, we've detected your content in your live stream may not.
One guy had stones. Okay, fuck. I don't care. I don't want to hear it.
It's also tiresome. I'm gonna appeal it, so I will, I'm gonna call it a night then. Alright, chat, you guys have a good night. Peace out. Have a good one. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. It's also tiresome.
Oh, it's a revolver. It doesn't have a silencer. And here? I can make double sure. Yeah, I'll do it. It's fucking +6 damage too.
Evening, Michael Malice here. Let that be your welcome for the next hour. We got with us one of my most requested guests and one of my favorite people, Cassandra Fairbanks, who's an independent journalist, slayer of neocons everywhere. I think you are probably the most merciless person when it comes to warmongers I have ever seen, and it is absolutely glorious to watch. And you're also really close to the Assange camp. Yeah. So let me, for the people who don't know Assange, because there's all these stories that get conflated, like him and Ross Ulbricht and Edward Snowden, a lot of people think, okay, Julian Assange was a Russian agent who hacked into the government and revealed all this information, and he got people killed, and he's not a journalist and doesn't deserve to have the protections of a journalist. Right? That's the impression some people have. How is that incorrect?
About this.
Well, I
don't know what you
a lot of levels.
I
There's a lot
don't go
there.
down there. I don't know anything.
Well,
they forced me.
A lot of the neocons.
I'm their
often say that
hostage.
Julian got people
Said if
killed
I try to
because of
escape,
the Fugues
I'd be next
it's
on the table.
Completely
I
not
swear.
true. It's an utter fabrication, and I've heard that this has been told to Donald Trump a lot too. So it's
Oh,
really
wow.
important to clear this
Right,
up.
all right.
The Pentagon testified during the Manning trial that
Terrible thing.
nobody was harmed.
I'm glad
because
it's
it was
over.
Released. They said they didn't even have to move anyone, and so. I mean, they were going after Manning for life.
Doing biz
and
year long?
If anyone had a
2 years,
motivation
maybe
to
more.
say that they
Wasn't
got
easy
people
at first,
killed,
but I
it would
made
have
the
been
right
the Pentagon
connections.
during this trial.
Half
they
the
said
heavy
that was
lifting
not
in
true.
business
They also
is the
said it was
network.
not true during
This
Julian's
and the will to
extradition
be
hearing that
cooperative
just
and
took place a
flexible.
couple months back. So yeah, that's a complete.
You're gonna mud me and then I'm gonna fucking knock you out.
And it's never quite went away. I think Heritage Foundation was pushing it recently as this week.
Yeah, they're horrible.
Yeah, but there's, the Pentagon has testified multiple times. U.S. prosecutors have testified. Nobody was killed because of it. Additionally,
Wait, I gotta ask you, since when do neocons worry about someone getting killed? Like,
I know, right?
like all of a
The
sudden,
irony.
even life matters to them, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the irony of it. It really, it gets to me.
Yeah.
But,
You lied to me.
Additionally, WikiLeaks were not the first people to release the war logs. They had been going through for 9 months, redacting names. They were reaching out to the State Department, trying to get help redacting names from people who might be high risk because they didn't want to get anyone killed. They then had a rogue former employee and a stupid idiot Guardian journalist release the password and the link for the unredacted files. It was
Okay.
being stored online because WikiLeaks was working with a whole bunch of publications all over the world to go through, redact stuff, and as, like, say, the New York Times put out a story based on the cables, WikiLeaks would simultaneously publish the redacted versions on their website. So it was being done in a very, like, proper way, objectively, more proper than I probably would have done. But a rogue employee released this stuff. Luke Harding from The Guardian put the password in his book, and with those 2 pieces of information, people were able to go on and get the full cables. They then leaked on cryptome.org, they leaked on Pirate Bay, they were all over Twitter.
Where'd you come from? It was just downstairs.
And this is about a week before WikiLeaks released
talk
it.
about this.
So if anyone got people killed, shouldn't they be going after the first people who published it instead of the 3rd or 4th or 5th person who published it?
What?
I think that's one of the
we were
things that makes it so clear that this is politically motivated.
Don't know what you saw there.
Sorry
So
for the long rant.
Don't go down
No, this is really important to get the context for this. So Julian is. Can we pay? No, this is not going to happen. So Julian was also basically held in like solitary confinement in the British embassy, the Ecuadorian embassy, I believe, in London for how long?
Nearly a decade, I think. I believe it was like 8 years or something. It was quite a long time.
Getting what I saw in the basement.
And he was supposed to be under political asylum, but instead of protecting him and treating him as
even able to look yourself in the
effectively a
mirror?
political refugee, which
No.
he was.
Fuck
He was
you.
spied on. All his visitors were
understand.
spied on. I myself had to leave
you
my
wait
cell
here a
phone at the
minute?
hotel when I would go visit
There's
him because they were
something
going
I'd
in
like
and
to
requesting
show
your
you.
like all your information from your phone. That would have made it easily hackable. He was essentially in prison. I've written about this a lot too. When I visited a fish port in a prison, it was worse than being in a federal prison.
Well, yeah. Describe what his conditions were like.
So there were cameras everywhere. I mean, they pretty much kept visitors to this one conference room at the front, which used to be used by the ambassador for meetings. They actually took out a machine that would muffle voices from being recorded, which was to protect the ambassador. They took that out so that they could better spy on Julian. The last time I saw him, they locked me in a room for 2 hours because they wouldn't let Julian see me without having a full body search. Because they thought that he was going to give me information, or that he was bringing in a little radio. We used to use a little radio tuned to like a station that didn't come in, just to create white noise.
Don't go down there.
So that all these cameras and surveillance equipment wouldn't pick up what we were saying.
If I try to escape,
They
I'd be next on the table.
did not like that.
I swear.
And so the final time they wouldn't let me see him. They locked me in a room from the outside for 2 hours.
You're lying.
It was bad. I mean, there were cameras even outside of the bathroom.
Discount.
Oh, God. Just like in my house.
Special prices for
Oh yeah.
That's something different. That's a story for another day.
What I saw in the basement.
I mean, what were his? Was he in good spirits? Like, what's it like talking to someone who's like locked in a room
You
for
even
that
able
long?
to look yourself in the mirror?
I mean,
No.
He stayed as
you.
positive as he could. That last
I
visit,
understand.
which was actually the last time that I saw
Could you
him before
wait
he was
here a minute?
arrested. It was only
There's
like
something
2
I'd
months
like
before
to
his
show
arrest.
you.
He was not in very good spirits. He got into a screaming match with the ambassador. He accused him of working as an agent of the U.S. government, which I believe to be true. I took extensive notes of the whole fight because I was like, I don't know if he wants me to put this out or what. And then later they did give me permission to publish.
Okay, I'll let him go.
That's up on Gateway if people want to find it. But yeah, he was not being treated well, especially after the new
Plus,
administration took over in Ecuador.
shooting him in the
They were
back when
really-
he's running.
They were trying to make him feel like he was in prison, and I think it was
Not
successful.
very
I think
samurai.
that I mean, I've visited people in federal prisons before, and I've been treated better than I was treated
Run,
when I
coward.
went to visit Julian last time. So he was not doing well. He was still sharp. He's a very smart man. He hasn't gone crazy, which I definitely would have if I was in his shoes. But now he's in even worse conditions because he's in Belmarsh, which is the
Seriously?
the version of Gitmo. Essentially, he's in there with
I'm
terrorists,
non-lethal.
child murderers, horrible people, and they're treating him like he's a terrorist.
Are you, what is your reaction to, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but this seems to be my impression, it seems to be there's a complete lack of support from him from the same journalist class who keep yelling for years that they're basically under assault because Trump is mean to them in tweets.
Yeah, that makes me sick. I've confronted Brian Stelter and a few other people about this because So last year, the White House Correspondents' Dinner, they had a free speech theme. And the whole event was based on whining about the fact that Trump is mean to journalists on Twitter. Meanwhile, Julian was sitting in Belmarsh, and they don't even mention him. They didn't mention his name one time. We brought a big box truck with a big billboard on it that had Free Julian, trying to force them to have to talk about it. And they still didn't. I think the reason is because WikiLeaks didn't just expose corrupt governments and corrupt politicians. They exposed the corrupt journalists that work with them. And these people need access to be able to report. And in doing so, they do things that are corrupt. And they end up in emails that get leaked. And they're afraid. They're afraid of him, or they've already been embarrassed by him. And so they want him in jail just as bad as the governments do.
Yeah, can you go into that? Wasn't there a few emails that
Cassandra
showed
Fairbanks,
explicit
person whose
collusion
identity is
between
another
journalists
person?
and members of the Democratic Party?
Yeah, one of the worst
I mean,
ones
she
was,
does
I
more
believe it
than
was
that,
Donna
but-
Brazil. She was sending the debate questions to Hillary Clinton so that she would win the debate against Bernie Sanders. At the DNC, actually, Bernie Sanders supporters were chanting, "Hillary cheats, thank you, WikiLeaks." So he's exposed a lot. There were a lot of other ones who were sending drafts of articles to John Podesta and his cronies to get approval before they published it. They were editing things on behalf of the Democratic Party. That's not journalism, that's propaganda. That's press releases.
So what is he facing at the moment? Is he allowed visitors? Is he in solitary? What's going on now?
The visitor situation's been up and down, especially because of COVID. They have the outbreak on his cell block right now, so he hasn't been able to see his children since I think October. I could be wrong, but I believe it was October. He couldn't see his lawyers. He didn't get proper access to his lawyers during the extradition trial. They wouldn't even let him sit with his lawyers during the hearings, so he couldn't even speak to them there. He's essentially in solitary confinement. It's bad.
This is my Soviet brain thinking, and I'm almost scared to ask this question, but aren't you very concerned that they're gonna have someone on the inside just do their dirty work for them? That's how these people operate.
I've been terrified of that for a very long time, more so after the Epstein stuff.
Yeah.
I had been saying it for a long time. People were like, "Cassandra, you're crazy, you're a conspiracy theorist." And then the Epstein thing happened, and I was like, "Oh my God, we need to get Julian out and somewhere anonymous and safe." I'm terrified of that every day, and I know his family is too.
There was some tweet I saw recently that basically said that Trump had greenlit a pardon. Do you have any information if that's happening?
That tweet turned out to be false. It got over 200,000 likes though, which I think shows the amount of support from both the left and the anti-establishment left and the right.
You in there?
It had a lot of traction. People were really excited, but
What does it look like?
they have not heard any updates. Julian's legal team did put in a formal request for a pardon last Tuesday, but we have not heard back. And there's a little bit of concerns from people who have signed it that the person that they sent it to might have just thrown it in the trash bin instead of giving it to Trump himself. So we're trying to get it to him through another method now.
Nice place you got here. Tasteful.
Thanks. I mean, the way I would frame it is, you know, this would be a great way to spite your enemies, Mr. President. And it seems like he's very motivated by doing things like that on his way out. So that gives me a ray of hope.
Yeah.
I feel like Trump is the kind of person who, if he has power, he's gonna just use it just for the sake of using it. So I don't see him leaving office without pardoning a slew of people just because it'll upset so many in the media.
Then here you
Yeah,
go.
well, he did a round of pardons tonight, and I got, as soon as I saw the email in my inbox, I was like scrolling through looking for Julian, but he wasn't in there.
Thanks.
Was there any big names tonight? I didn't see that.
George Papadopoulos.
Okay.
I don't know who else. I was
Wait a
scrolling
minute,
looking
no.
for Julian, and then I got
Look.
mad because he wasn't in there, and I closed it.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
The problem is he still has a lot of neocon advisors around him. He has people that have tricked essentially Trump supporters into thinking that they're these America First patriots, and they're not. And they have been lobbying very hard.
But don't kill
to keep
people.
Julian in there. I think Trump's instincts would
Journal.
be to free him, but these people have been working for
Charms.
years to convince them that Julian is this enemy of the state, that he hates America, that he got patriots killed. That's what they always say. None of these things are true at all, of course, but I think that Trump does have a lot of people who with very sinister motivations surrounding him.
No, I think that's kind of indisputably true. And I mean, the fact that I'm sure the worst hire, you would agree, was that he brought Bolton on.
People were yelling at me so hard, being like, "You're anti-Trump. You're not supporting his picks," because I went crazy when he brought in Bolton.
Yeah, I mean, this is the worst one. I mean, I can't think of anyone who, other than maybe Donald Rumsfeld or Cheney, but he's like that's kind of like all the big chess pieces. Those are the three. Maybe, I mean, even Condoleezza Rice isn't as bad as the rest of them.
No.
But I mean, this is kind of splitting hairs at that point.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you think people should know about the whole situation that they're kind of not aware of?
I think, well, Project Veritas last week released a 75-minute phone call between Julian Assange and one of the secretaries for Hillary Clinton when she was at the State Department. It was a week before the actual war logs release came out. I think you should go listen to that. I can't think of anything more important to listen to than this. He was pleading with Hillary Clinton's State Department for help to mitigate the damage that this release caused, and they blew him off completely.
Besides, I saved your life.
So I think that really cuts to the heart of the indictment against him. I think that it's just so important that people go and listen to that.
Now, did you bring the data bank?
And I think that, you know, if people can tweet at President Trump and let him know that you would support a pardon, that would be really great.
Not to worry, it usually means
this must be How did you first get connected with Julian?
you wouldn't happen to have seen
Oh
what's
gosh,
inside.
I don't even know. I actually only joined Twitter to follow
I have a
WikiLeaks
reputation
back in
to
like
uphold.
2013. I only got into writing so I could support WikiLeaks.
Then here you go.
And I
For your
think just
professionalism.
from being
I
such a
threw
big
in a little
supporter for
extra
so
for
long,
minding your
we
own
just
data.
naturally ended
Thanks.
up meeting
Be seeing
and
you.
speaking. So it's been quite a while. I think the first time I visited him was 4 years ago.
This is a strange place.
Was it the kind of thing where, as you kept visiting him, he was kind of in he had a routine, or was he getting worse and worse?
How is a place like
He
this?
looked worse. I mean, he was losing weight. From the
Give
first time I
me the
visited
shard.
him to the last, he had probably lost 25 pounds at least. His face was getting really gaunt. He was letting himself go, like big beard, as you saw when he got dragged out of the embassy. But he tried to keep his spirits up, but you could tell it was weighing on him. It was getting to him, and yeah, things got progressively more bleak, I guess you could say.
Like, this is a stupid question, but like, I've heard lots of different answers to this. What was he like doing all day? Did he have access to television? Did he have access to books? Did he have access to the internet? I mean, that's a lot of time to kill, and for psychologically, that's one of the reasons this kind of confinement is regarded as almost a form of torture, because humans are social animals, and if you're trapped in a box with no outlet, you're gonna lose it.
Well, the UN special reporter on torture, whatever it is, Neil Metzner, He ruled that it was psychological torture what they did to him. But you know, the last year he wasn't supposed to have any access to the internet. They cut off the
There's
internet.
nothing
They cut
here.
off. They put in something to
Why
block his
couldn't
cell
I
phone service. They
crack it?
completely cut him off from the outside. They said that if he made any statements against any nation that Ecuador was allied with, that they would throw him out. So effectively, they just gagged him because they were upset that he was speaking out about the situation in Catalonia. So he had like no access to the outside world for that last year in the embassy. But he did have books, he had newspapers, he had visitors. People were allowed to come in and visit, but the visits were heavily monitored and they were very limited. Like when I went, I had to fill out a whole form, who I was, why I was visiting, all my cell phone information, my boss's information, my address, all kinds of stuff. And they gave you 2-hour time blocks. So they could hold you up and not let you in, and then it would cut into your time.
Oh, wow.
So that came later. When I first started visiting him, they let me stay there like however long, and I was allowed to walk around the embassy, and it was fine. But then they really cracked down, I guess, the last 2 years or so. And so around then is when things started getting a lot worse for him.
How was it that it was the Ecuadorians who were the ones who ended up giving him asylum?
He went to their embassy. He knew that the president at the time was a supporter, so he thought it was his best shot and just went there. He probably should have picked somebody with a bigger embassy, to be honest. But
Any port in a storm, I guess.
yeah, I remember when I went the first time, I timed how long it would take me to walk to like the Icelandic embassy and stuff, and how long of a run it was. I'm like, Julian, you can get there in a minute and a half. Let's go. He was like, I'm not doing that.
The Pirate Party is really big in Iceland, and I know they're huge supporters of him, like the Pirate Parties in all these different European countries. So that might not even have been such a bad kind of bet. But yeah, I guess you're going to be a little out of shape if you're locked in a room for years.
Yeah, and
like, how many push-ups can you do?
Yeah, they had, back when he first went in there, a photojournalist actually took a picture of a clipboard that one of the London officers was holding, and it had orders for them to arrest Julian even if he came out in a diplomatic box or a diplomatic bag. So they were willing to really start some crap with Ecuador to arrest him and violate diplomatic norms. So he didn't want to risk trying to get outside at all.
Did WikiLeaks expose anything from the British? Why were the British so gung-ho on getting him?
I don't think so, but I mean, they were working with the U.S. Everybody's the U.S.'s bitch.
So that really is what it, that really is what it is. This is, I mean, they're going to be the U.S.'s attack dog in the situation. There's no like Boris Johnson or any of these other Theresa May situation or whoever it was. It's just like they're trying to appease the U.S. government.
Yeah.
Or the international intelligence community. I'm sure they all work hand in glove. I don't know if you know this, but this is going to make you really, really sick. I had dinner with a former spook, and he was talking about how, I think it was the CIA or FBI, I don't remember which one it was very corrupt. And I've told this story before, and I'm still kind of stunned every time I think about it, because he would say, like, okay, it was illegal for me to spy on my ex-girlfriend's Gmail. But what I could do is call my contact in France and say, hey, can you do a run-up on this person in America? And then they would do it, and I would do it for them if I needed to. And the guy's takeaway was like, oh, we need reform. I'm like, you need to be in jail.
Yeah.
Like, that is such a, like, depraved lack of respect for, like, basic freedoms and the shamelessness that you would do this brazen thing. And it's not an accident. You know what you're doing. You're a horrible, evil people.
Yeah, I think Snowden revealed a lot of that too. A lot of, spying on girlfriends, boyfriends.
And they don't care.
Mm-mm.
There's never consequences. This is the American KGB. It's just absolutely outrageous. I'm sure you were a big supporter of that bill between Thomas Massey and Tulsi when they're trying to repeal this. So the fact that Hawaiian Punch is going down swinging is something that's really, really kind of exciting. If you guys have any questions, send them in the super chats and I'll ask them for Cass. We've got her for another 38 minutes that she's got to run. I am so
This one looks great.
hopeful that Trump does the right thing. At the same time,
Quadro
historically,
Avenger.
he can't. He's kind of erratic, you know.
Yeah, all my sources,
I'll get
I mean,
that.
I've reached out to everyone I've ever met who even works close to the White House at this point. And everybody is like,
55,000.
it could go either way. It just depends on who he decides to listen to. I mean, he's got all these electors right now that are going to challenge the election results.
I have 11.
Most of them are pro
So,
and so I've been pestering
let's try and
them,
find
like,
more.
"Hey guys,
And then
wanna
I get
mention that he should do it pardon."
the Quadro Avenger.
But because I mean, Gates supports it, Green supports it, Paul Gassar supports it, a lot of them. So hopefully he'll listen to some reason.
I just saw a video that you posted on your Twitter of Sarah Palin, who totally changed her tune on this issue. Can you tell me what happened there?
So this is actually my favorite story. She, back in the day, I remember I really disliked her because after he released her emails during her campaign with John McCain when she was running for VP, she compared him to the Taliban. And she said that he should be dealt with like the same as we deal with the Taliban. And she was just like gung-ho, like...
Does she mean negotiate with them after a few years?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, but she hated the Gates. She came out swinging. She was just like, she was feisty. You know how Sarah Palin is. She was very feisty. And a few years ago, I met her, and I was wearing a free Assange bag, and I was at Trump Hotel for some event. And she came up and she was like, "Hey, I love your bag." And I was like,
"What?"
Hey, Sarah Palin. And she was like, "I used to be such a stinker about him, but I was wrong." And she went on and on and on. So I reached out to her last week and I was like, "Hey, would you maybe do a video helping us call for a pardon?" And she sent it over the next day. And she's great. I love her. There's not many politicians that would admit they were wrong like that, you know?
And publicly, just blatantly, and to go for what do you know what made her change her mind?
Okay.
She said that she had just reconsidered. She saw how important
I scratched what I said about the navigation being great in this
He
game.
really is doing a service.
actually
He's trying to get information to the public
very
that
glitchy.
they need to make informed decisions. And she's like, how can that be bad? That's what journalists should do. And she actually had like a really thoughtful opinion about it, and I respect the hell out of her for that.
And she has a background in journalism, let's remember, so I'm sure that kind of played into like what she was told about. Ostensibly, journalism is about speaking truth to power, and people are corrupt, holding them accountable. And this isn't his opinion. He had the documents. He's like, here are the emails where they're doing things that are completely outrageous, and all these different news outlets are doing what they can to try to obfuscate it or cover it up. And Cassandra just...
And it's great to see all these people coming out and tweeting their team. I love it.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit. Who do you think are the worst neocons in Congress right now?
Oh,
I know. They're so horrible.
I hate Dan Crenshaw. Everybody loves Dan Crenshaw. They're like, he's so cool. He's got an eye patch. He was in the military. And I'm like, first of all, he has a glass eye. He's wearing an eye patch to make himself look cool. John McCain was also in the military, and he sucked. You don't get a pass forever on having bad opinions and wanting to send our children to go freaking die overseas for other nations' interests or for oil, and still, you know, and not face any criticism. And the Trump crowd gets really mad at me because I'm harsh on him, but he stands against everything that I believe in. I do not like Dan Crenshaw. So.
It's how many Twitter followers do you have? Because you got significantly more than me.
I think 294.
Yeah. So what's really funny is you actually got under his skin, because the thing at these politicians is once your audience is big enough and you start clowning them, it blows up their mentions, and whether it's them or their social media Morlock, they can't really ignore it. Plus, there's going to be a disconnect between in terms of intensity of passion. So like people who are attacking him are going to hate him a lot more than those few like BoomerCon fans who are like, "Oh, Dan, you're so great," and that really is going to do a number on them, especially if someone's trying to be like, "Hey, I'm a cool congressman. I'm not like the other ones." It's like, no, you're
sorry.
the other ones.
Yeah.
You just have a prop.
Yeah, he's literally the mom from Mean Girls. I think of it every time I see him. Whenever he puts out his stupid little commercials, I'm like, He's a cool mom.
Yeah.
He's awful. I can't deal with him.
Here's a good question. Who's running on the right in 2024 and Reformed GOP or New Populist Party? This is going to be stupid to make a prediction, but I am very, very much looking forward to the debates between Ted Cruz and Mike Pence, because I think that is really going to be Republicanism at its most, like, lethal.
1%.
I'm just hoping it's not Crenshaw and Nikki Haley, like all the boomers have been floating.
Yeah, I don't think Crenshaw has a shot to run for president, do you?
I hope not. He's tricked a lot of people into thinking he's like this cool,
nothing.
like, super cartoon comic book superhero, though, and he just wants to be like an actor. Like, can't we just put him in Hollywood and let him get his attention there and get him out of politics?
I mean, he does seem like the kind of person that they would pick for Veep or some kind of cabinet position, but I think it's really hard to nominate someone from the House.
Yeah.
How long has he been in the House? He hasn't been in the House that long either.
No. I forget when he was elected.
And I think Haley's kind of
What side jobs are in the...
Yeah, I mean, I still see all like the Daily Caller
corporate
people
city.
pushing for like Haley 2024, and it gets under my skin
Bombas drone.
every time. But
Tatiana?
hopefully she does vanish. I would
Although you gotta admit, if she was in a debate against Kamala Harris, who's gonna be president by that point, it would end up being pretty funny because Nikki Haley's a smart lady, and Kamala Harris is not.
That's true, but then we'd get, a choice between Kamala and a neocon. And
Yeah, that's fair.
Who's the better choice in that? Like, they both are awful.
I'm with Cass. Crenshaw's the worst. Do you like Pence or Cruz
Valentinos?
better? If I had to choose between the two of them, given those debates, I think Pence is probably worse on the issues, but Pence is a much better debater.
Yeah, I like Cruz better. But, I mean, I don't agree with him on everything. I wish that he was a little bit tougher on a lot of stuff, but I would vote for him.
He's also a lot funnier than Pence, and he's actually really... People aren't realizing how good he is under the radar on social media. Like, he's not Twitter in the same way as Trump, but he's good with the memes and the jokes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just joined your stream. If you had to red pill someone on news media, what would be your silver bullet? That's a great question. What do you think, Cass?
I don't know, actually. That is a good question. I'd have to think about it, though. I mean, what they're doing to Julian's pretty...
That is a really big one, where it's just like, okay, tell the story, this is what the guy did, this is what he's accused of doing, how come none of these journalists ever mention him? That's a big one. The thing is, it's really hard to red pill someone who doesn't want to be red pilled. And automatically, the blue pilling sets up a loop so that there's information that they don't know. They're trained to kind of be suspicious or outright dismissive, so it's really hard.
Concrete canyons,
neon eyes. Michael, are you taking the vaccine? I'm not. If I don't have to, are you, Cass?
Hell no.
There's no chance I'm gonna There's no chance of me really having bad complications from COVID, even though I'm 90. But in terms of vaccine that changes your DNA, is my understanding how it works.
Yeah.
That's been on the market.
Johnny's not gonna
months.
like it.
What's the upside? I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm not a huge anti-vax person. I have opinions about it, but it's not really my wheelhouse.
You shall hear your
but yeah, there's no chance that me or my daughter are taking it. Absolutely not.
Gavin is a fan of yours.
More specific than that.
Yes, Gavin is fun.
I think there's a lot of people who are fans of yours, so I don't think that's. I think that's very fair to say. Do you think we're going to see more public unrest if they're trying to lock us down even more?
Probably. I mean, what's the recipe for an uprising? You take everything from people. They have nothing left to lose. If people are losing their homes, their businesses, children are miserable at home, not seeing their friends, no social life. What do they have to lose at this point? You're going to see some angry people soon.
What are your thoughts on BuzzFeed talking about secession? Let me answer this one first, because I was the first one on this train in 2016 with my article about this. And I would argue that a few years ago, all of these, what they would describe as kooky fringe radical ideas, they were perfectly content to ignore them. And now that they have to kind of address them, that is a huge degree of progress.
Spirit of nature.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not convinced that we'll have a peaceful divorce. I think that it's more likely that they'll be fighting. And because you can't really just give them, you know, the West Coast and stuff like that. We would be screwed. We would need ports, and there's all kinds of reasons why, you know, a split would not work out very well. And a lot of the places that they're in are, you know, landlocked by really red areas. So I'm not entirely convinced that a peaceful divorce can happen. But I mean, that would be ideal.
This one isn't going to be a trigger for Cass. I listened to Dan's podcast. His conversations seem very right-wing populist. I'm a little confused. Can you educate the man, Cass?
Oh, on Dan Crenshaw?
Yeah.
Is that who we're talking about? Oh, yeah. So, well,
I'm just going to drink my blood.
So Dan Crenshaw is awful on 2A, which is, you know, incredible because he likes to tote around guns and pretend that he's like, you know, NRA superhero. He supported red flag laws. He supports, he supports anti-First Amendment laws. He also, one of my favorites, I snuck into a speech that he was giving on Zoom. I actually put this up on District Herald if you want to watch the video. But he said that we need lots of immigration so that they can do jobs that Americans won't do. He said that, you know, American citizens won't want to work in farms and won't want to do all these things. And so he was supporting increased immigration, another thing I do not. He's very pro-intervention. He's extremely pro-foreign aid, which I know a lot of people are finally waking up to right now because of the relief bill. He's basically the antithesis of everything that I believe. And everything that Donald Trump campaigned on. This guy is the polar opposite. Hello? And I don't understand how he's tricked all these people into thinking that he is some kind of great ally to the MAGA movement, because he's not. He's not a populist. He's not even close.
He's closer to. Isn't he closer to CFR than he is to MAGA?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you support the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, if you support more anti-intervention views, you shouldn't really support Dan Crenshaw at all.
Are you gonna start the new America First party, Cass?
Oh no, I'm not gonna start it, but I will for sure.
Let's get this party started.
Yeah, you know, Amy Kramer from Women for Trump was tweeting about how we needed an America First party, and I was like, sign me up. I am there. Let's do this.
There's no freedom being a slave to your passions. What? What are Americans passionate about? America.
Yes.
I've got my governors to get most shirt on. Which governor deserves to be there the most? I would say Cuomo, or Newsom. That's a flip of a coin. I think Newsom might be worse.
The Michigan. What's
Gretchen Whitmer. The wicked. Yeah. Those are that's the trifecta. They can be roommates. Any chance that 2024 is done with explicit pandering to non-whites, or do we have to listen to that garbage again? When those non-whites are going to destroy the Democratic Party when they start voting for Republicans even marginally, and they're much more socially conservative than people realize.
Yeah, Hispanics had a huge moment for Trump because, I mean, they don't support burning down their neighborhoods.
But it's also, if you're talking Black Lives Matter, it's like, well, what about brown lives? Do we care about us? And it's like, oh yeah, we care about you too. It's like, sure doesn't sound like it.
Well, the thing is, though, I think white males are actually
Corpus,
the one block that lowered.
For whom it didn't work out, huh?
And that's a pretty big group to lose. So I think that, you know, it would be wise for the Republican Party to try and make more effort with flyover states and people in rural areas.
I'm betting this is like a Valentino hideout.
Not all white people are privileged and all these other things that they claim. There's people that are hurting and they're struggling and they're white. And it wouldn't hurt to appeal to them too. I mean, honestly, losing the white male vote, percentage of it is crazy, and that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah. How has homeschooling been versus public? And thank you for covering Assange.
Homeschooling is great.
What do you mean?
I'm not
do you
in DC
want
anymore.
the soy boy vote?
Thank gosh. But in DC, they just passed a bill to allow children as young as 11 to elect to get the vaccine without parental consent.
Oh, that's lovely.
So, I feel for anyone who has children in public public school at this
I suppose that means you're
Yeah.
not willing to
For
compromise, right?
Cass,
especially.
F. Mary Kill, Tim Pool, Luke Rutkowski, and Ian Crossland.
I'm not answering this. Those are all my friends.
Okay, so the answer is F all three.
That's good to hear.
We all heard her say it in those words. Would you have Nick Fuentes on your show? I know who Nick Fuentes is. The problem is when you start having people, I've addressed this before, I don't got beef with Nick, I don't think he has beef with me. When you start having people who are more radioactive, it alienates people who might want to otherwise be on your show. So I have to take the coward approach on this one. Dave is much braver than I am, Dave Smith in this one. Thoughts about Kristi Noem 2024? That's a great question. What do you think, Cass?
I like her, and I like DeSantis too. I think that he would be a good choice. I don't know if he has the star power and the charisma, but he's good.
And he is great in the sense that he saw firsthand how duplicitous the corporate press is, because they try to pull it on him. So he's under no and she too, in her defense, they both saw it happen. They were both the targets of it. They're like, okay, we understand the nature of the enemy, which I think a lot of Republicans still don't.
Right.
So, and she's obviously very charismatic. Michael, would you debate Ben Shapiro on the necessity for government or conservatism versus anarchism? I don't debate people. I don't think it's fun. I debated Tom Woods once and it had my ass handed to me. I would have a discussion with Ben or anyone about, or most people about these issues, but a formal debate, I think Ben would probably kick my ass just because he has debate experience. And it's like arm wrestling, right? It's not about who's stronger, it's who knows the technique. So I think Ben would do very well against me in those issues.
I don't even think he's a good debater, to be honest.
I'm
a little.
That's me too. So that's a wash.
Yeah.
You've said you had many friends in AA and NA. I think this is for me. I'm 900 days sober. Heck yeah, I'm really proud of you. Pat yourself on the back and for anyone who's doing self-improvement and getting their life together. Starting to see parallels between Randian philosophy and the selfishness of 12 steps. Have you seen this too? Absolutely. My friends who are in recovery, they're so big on personal consequences. They're so big on don't take, not my circus, not my monkeys. Like, don't allow people to dump their garbage on you because this is how addicts kind of get over. They're never had to face the consequences for the things that you're doing, and you think you're helping them, but you both end up hurt as a consequence. So I think there's strong parallels there between those two groups. Would you rather be conscripted by the press or the military? This is an easy one. Cass, over to you.
Press?
Yeah,
no,
of course.
I don't. Yeah.
Are you kidding? Yeah, but you don't have to kill people.
I wouldn't want to be in the corporate media either. They just help kill people.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd rather do that than having to pull triggers on kids and blowing. This is an easy one.
Yeah.
And then you could really mess things up.
I would feel bad though on both of those things. I would not want either.
You're wrong. Here's why you're wrong. Because you'd be that girl they all hate at the newsroom because you wouldn't shut the F up and you drive them all crazy and can't we just get rid of her? And you'd be like, I'm not going anywhere. You're going to have to deal with this. And they're going to be jumping out the windows.
That's true. I did work for like Condé Nast for a little bit before when I was a leftist, and watching them completely dismantle my entire articles and then rewrite them entirely and put my name on it was something that really, I'll never work in mainstream media. I would never want to. Like working in like fringe websites, that's where it's at.
Yeah, and it's also more fun, and you get to meet more fun people who are going to be more open and have real relationships. Like I'm assuming this is a troll question. Thoughts on Tim Scott 2024? I think he'd be really focused on solving problems. Cass?
I'm good.
I think this is a BoomerCon fantasy, and I don't think he has got any leverage at all. Okay, what do we have here? Please do a hangout with Taibbi about food or music, but it has to be all in Russian. I didn't know Matt Taibbi's Russian. He's Russian? Huh, okay, well, stay tuned. This is adjacent to something that's going to happen soon.
I have no idea.
Would you describe Jared Taylor as evil? I think this is for me. I don't like that word when someone hasn't actually killed people. I wouldn't use that word, no. DeSantis defended his cops for pointing their guns at young children serving a warrant for a non-violent crime. He's dead to me now. I did not know about that. Did you know about this?
No.
Okay, wow.
I don't follow like that closely what he's doing, honestly, because I'm not in Florida.
Yeah.
I thought it was great on the lockdown stuff, though.
Yeah. Which member of the corporate press is the most tolerable person you can stand? That's a good question. There's a ton of them that are better than others. It's hard to think of them though. Like I'm trying to think of one, and I'm like, I don't.
Yeah,
Oof.
I don't know. I like Tucker. I don't know. If
Yeah.
I
think he's that's Fox is definitely corporate press. Yeah.
I don't like very many actually. I was thinking, wow, there's probably like multiple, but no, I am blanking. I actually don't really like any.
I think it's not even what they do. It's that the culture in that field is very pompous and self-aggrandizing, and like I'm a troll, and that does not cut ice with me at all. Yeah, so it's gonna be really hard to kind of be like, oh, I want to talk to you and have a fun conversation because you're kind of awful. Does Bill Maher count? I mean, he's smug, but he's also he's funny, and he's sometimes goes things outside the box.
Are you V?
So that would be, I guess, my answer.
Step in the view.
Do you think Noam Chomsky is right on anarchism? He's not right in the sense of right versus left. Is he correct in anarchism? Well, insofar as he's an anarchist, I think he is. Some new rights say Chinese censorship is better than the cathedral because they don't expand restrictions as often. Chinese Communist Party's devil, agree?
You see,
I don't think Chinese censorship is better than what we have at all.
This would work. Now
What do you think, Cass?
No, I think that we're heading in that direction, though. I don't think it's better. I think that what they do is awful, and I don't want that to happen here at all. And I'm very afraid that we'll end up moving in that direction.
Why?
Yeah, it's kind of a, I'm using this term very loosely, it's kind of a good thing that the one journalist who's been oppressed by the government, we know his name, and there's a chance of him getting pardoned. If you could name the victims as opposed to an entire class of people, that is not ideal, but it's certainly preferable to like an entire population. I mean, imagine how many Julian.
It is.
What's that?
We still have time to fix it.
Yeah, and how many Julian Assanges must there be over in China, or would they be? I mean, they're going to lock them up with their families. I don't think it's comparable at all.
But we're left wondering
Qualified immunity gone in Colorado. SCOTUS decision comes soon, it seems. Thoughts? What do you think, Cass?
I haven't followed that at all, so I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily good because I do think that with how bad things are right now, police should be able to defend themselves a little bit.
Makes you think the cops got it
and
wrong.
I don't know.
Any evidence?
It's hard to say. I do think that things should be more on a case-by-case basis, which qualified immunity does hinder. But at the same time, you are seeing more and more cops being attacked, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm on the fence.
Honestly, what I would be more interested in is immunity from sovereign immunity by these governors. So if you are taking these actions that cause companies to go out of business, you should be personally responsible. And that as a class is in many ways more egregious than these kind of shootings by the police, because it's on a much grander scale. Have you, this is for me, have you read Bronze Age Mindset? If not, name your price. I don't have time to read it. I have not read it. No disrespect to BAP. I'm sure I would enjoy it. We would actually have an interesting discussion about urban versus rural as a kind of genetic urbanite on my part. I ran into Tom Woods at a Spencer's, very nice guy. Do you know Tom Woods? He's this very failed podcaster.
Love him. I've been on his show. We were talking about WikiLeaks actually. He's great, and his episode on the America First Committee is like my favorite thing on any podcast ever.
Tom and I have been working on a cartoon for the last year, and the first episode drops next month, so it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be great. And as I said in my earlier stream, I made it a point to see if I could get him into a dress in as many of the episodes as possible. I think it's like half of them. Like he's in a dress for like no reason. Like so if we're doing like a sketch where like we're talking about the news, like he's the weather girl for no reason. So it's really gonna be fun how I managed to get that over. I was very proud of myself. I think the resistance to the cathedral should think about also organizing outside the internet, like the previous centuries of political organization, maybe an underground mail system like in Crying of Lot 49. But I think we're seeing that with things like Signal and WhatsApp. Like, and you know, for example, a bunch of my bros had a Facebook group, and then they're like, this is the kind of stuff where people lose their Facebook accounts again, and we just moved it all to Signal. And I think that's the sort of thing that's happening increasingly. And I think Cass, I would like to hear your thoughts. I think we're also seeing is this parallel culture forming where it's like we're not even having discussions with you guys anymore. Like you're going to say your stupid propaganda, we're going to smile and nod, we're going to do our own thing.
Got to speak to the mayor's chief of security.
Yeah, I mean, I use Telegram, Signal, Parler, all kinds of alternative things, and I don't know.
Question for both: what are your favorite sports to watch? I'm not a sports person, Avi, but if I had to pick something, I'd say MMA.
I was a huge baseball fan. I was a big Red Sox fan, and I have a Red Sox tattoo. Huge fan. And then they put up a giant, like 40-foot Black Lives Matter banner at Fenway Park, and I boycotted them all last year, and I'm gonna get my tattoo covered, and they're dead to me. So no more sports for me, and I'm sad.
Have you read American Nations? The concept is that immigrants aren't integrating but into American culture but regional cultures. I've not read it, and I think that's accurate. I'm an immigrant, and we grew up speaking Russian, and it was a Russian household, and it was very much foreign to, and also being in Brooklyn, that's not typical New York, typical America either. So there's a lot to that, and it has been for a long time. But it's not always malevolent. I mean, it could just be, okay, they have different food and whatever. It's not as, malevolent as some people make it out to be. What do you think, Cass?
I have not read that. But yeah, I think that people kind of stick to their own in different communities locally. That's always been a thing. We have Chinatown.
We've had it for over 100 years. How many cities have Chinatowns? Yeah, or Chinatown. If Assange pardoned, what would you focus on next? That's a great question.
I don't know. This has been like the thing that I cared most about for the last over a decade. So I don't know. It would be really great though. I'd be really, really, really happy to have less to do and less to care about.
Yeah.
It'd be a welcome situation.
Let that be your welcome. How would Rand respond to COVID? Having trouble responding to you exercising freedom puts us at risk. I really hate when people are like, oh, if Thomas Jefferson was alive today, he'd clearly be a BLM supporter. It's like, we don't know. The reason these figures are so prominent and important is that they think in smart ways that are kind of counterintuitive. So anyone who says, well, Ayn Rand would definitely be like this, they're lying. There's certain things you can guess, but I don't think it's at all intuitive. For both of you, if I'm new to politics, philosophy, which books are a must-read as a beginner? That's a great question.
So oddly, one of my favorite books that I'm gonna make my daughter read as soon as she's like 14 is Manufacturing Consent from Chomsky, actually.
Yeah, I just read it recently.
I recommend it to everyone. I don't know, I'd have to think on what else. Empire by Gore Vidal is really good.
A History of the American People, Economics in One Lesson. I think the 9-volume Copleston, History of Philosophy. If you have to stick to only one, do number 7, because that's the Germans and they're really crazy. That should get you started, I think. And the churn.
Canon. Sorry.
What's that? Which one?
Death of the West, or anything that he wrote.
And also the Chernow Hamilton book is exceptionally excellent. My family and I got COVID. I'm appalled by how cowardly docs in Southern California are to prescribe meds. I'm an EMT and see the same with regards to my patients who get nothing. That's awful. I'm very, very sorry to hear that. Percent succession of U.S. by 2030. I'm gonna put it at, because things are escalating so fast, I'm gonna put it at like 30%.
Yeah, I'd say like 2030.
Meaning it's not impossible, but it's not even. The odds of secession are higher than the odds that Trump would have been elected president in 2016. Like, that's more realistic chance than if you were in 2015, you said Donald Trump's gonna be our next president. You're like, okay, I think the odds are higher here, and that did end up happening. Signal is secure, but it's vulnerable. Parler Minds and other systems run on Amazon. They could disappear with the flick of a switch. Sure, I understand this. My point is, instead of the focus being on maintaining in spaces that are basically run by the enemy class, I think there's a lot of focus to be like, okay, we have to create our own spaces and anticipate these nefarious elements trying to take them over and kick out people they don't like.
Slow your roll. Reward CPD.
Your opinion on Mandalorian and Star Wars in general. I'm not a fan.
Gotta speak to the mayor.
His name is Baby Yoda forever. I don't care what anybody says.
What does that mean? I don't even know what that means.
He's saying in the last part of the question, no, it's Baby Yoda forever. I actually have a Baby Yoda. Hold on.
Why do they? There's a disagreement about his name.
Yes, it's Baby Yoda.
But is it literally Yoda that grows up to be Yoda?
No.
Oh, it's a different person.
Yeah, but
Oh,
it's Baby Yoda as far as I'm
okay.
concerned.
Okay. Pelosi is agreeing to increase the stimulus from 600 to 2,000. What are your thoughts on this?
I think that would be great, but I think it would be better if people could go back to work.
Yeah, that's the answer. Yeah, right. Let your hairdresser open up her hairdressery. Let the restaurants open up. Right. And if you are someone who's high risk, just like with AIDS, it's really important for you to take ownership and take the necessary precautions and assume whoever you're interacting with has COVID and work your way around that.
Right.
There's no way around that. You know, people are getting it, taking all the precautions. Will you share your 23andMe in a stream? You look so. I think this is of me. You look so Slavic. In addition to the Ashkenazi, you must be. My 23andMe is on my Twitter. If you just search for 23andMe, you'll find it. I'm 67.
People are the same everywhere.
Okay, it's coming at your ass. Well.
Dream. Do it after the conference.
The tune. Don't recognize it.
Tune.
What he's humming.
Wouldn't call that a tune.
He's really into it.
You're here. Fantastic. So, did you see anything suspicious? Anything at all? Or are we paranoid?
Whole thing stinks worse than Coronado Bay in July.
Huh. So suspicions confirmed. Any questions at this point?
Red Queen's race.
Is everything all right?
What is it?
Got me. Never heard of him. Sorry.
Who's Holt?
Ryan's deputy. And his bulldog, so to speak. Running in Ryan's place now.
Conference. Why was it held?
For no particular reason. Ryan liked the sound of his voice and seeing himself on TV. That sort of thing. As far as I recall, drop in Night City's violent crime rate was the excuse for this one. Ryan came out to tout it.
Sorry, drop.
Ryan reclassified Pacifica an independent district. Stats for that part of town stopped counting.
Clever. Cop who saved Ryan. Know anything about him?
Detective River Ward. Good guy. We worked a few cases together. You want to talk to him, I'll put you in touch.
Mayor's hustle. The NCPD?
No. All handpicked by Holt. And on a corpse payroll. But there are ex-cops among them.
Anyone else besides Ryan's detail have access to the terminal?
NCPD. That's it.
Sheesh, Ward had great timing. Either has crazy good luck or had a source. Got good info. I'm gonna need some of each.
Well said.
Sending you his deeds. If you need anything else, let us know. We'll help.
This is Ward. Who am I talking to?
Name's V. Looking into the death of one Lucius Ryan.
Wonder why? You're not a cop.
Listen,
Say something.
I know you tried to warn Ryan about the cyber psycho.
What else do you know?
Now that you best meet with me.
All right. I'm headed to Chubby Buffalo's.
Be their stat.
Great. So, as I was saying,
%7 Ashkenazi, and the rest is Slavic, and then there's 0.2% cephalopod. Are you? Oh, here's a great question for you, Cass. Are you white pilled or black pilled about the future of this country?
I am pretty black pilled.
Oh,
I'm not gonna lie. I have moments where I'm like, oh, I'm white pilled again, and then like something happens, and I'm like, we can't coexist with all these people. I don't know. Like it.
yeah, but white pilling means you don't have to. That there's a way out.
Yeah, no, and I'll have my moments where I'm like, I am really white pilled. Things are going great. And then a day later, I'm like, we're doomed. We can't coexist with these crazy people. And I go back and forth, honestly. I try to stay white pilled, but it's not working out that well.
Oh, but I mean, you're a mom, and like you have. Isn't there like a big part of you that's just like, okay, I gotta be hopeful for my kid?
Well, I mean, I live out in the mountains, so I'm like, if you guys get martial law and shit and stuff down in the cities, like that's fine. I'll be up here. I'll watch it on TV, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I think everything seems really grim. And if our elections are, even if the election's fully fair, but you know, you have 60% of people or 50% of people who think that they're not.
Yeah.
I don't think that's good, and I don't see how it can be fixed. If people don't trust the elections to be fair, I don't know where you go from there, and I don't know how we get past the fact that we have completely different morals and beliefs than half the country. Like, it's not even like these are petty debates about policy issues. We have like profoundly different opinions on what's morally acceptable and things like that. I don't know how you get past it, and I don't know how things will de-escalate.
So I got paid $1,000 to read Cuomo's book. Was Cuomo's book the best fiction of the book of the year? The book, if you watch my review, it's fine because it's, despite the cover, lessons learned from COVID, it's just a journal. It's like a blog. So it's like, oh, on this day, we had this many hospitals. So I called California and they flew the respirators in and that got taken care of. So it's not at all, it's like self-propagandizing, but it's not at all kind of as bad as you would think it would be. It's perfectly fine. It's just kind of insane that he had the gall to release it right before the election. And I would bet money, tinfoil hat time, I do have the Alex Jones tinfoil hat in my kitchen, that this was a way for the publisher to kick him some cash in exchange for whatever it is they wanted in exchange for. So Trump is out of office, what, the 21st, right? So we've got like another month to hope for these pardons to happen. And they often do it the last day.
Yeah.
So he's going to keep us waiting until the end of the, you know, possibly until the time runs out.
Yeah. I mean, he did a bunch today. So hopefully he'll keep doing more. Maybe we can get one before Christmas. That would be great. But
do you think any of these journalists have any idea how they're despised by the public?
no, they all think that they're rock stars because they have those few people on Twitter that stroke their egos constantly. I mean, look at people like Jim Acosta. All they do is spend their time trying to go viral and get pats on the head. Like they're completely deluded and narcissists. I don't think that they could possibly understand how much people dislike them.
Can we mirror you on Utreon? It's a new YouTube alternative. I guess I'm not a big IP person, so if you want to do that, go ahead. I think that would cost me subscribers, but I'm not gonna fight this particularly. I got to tell you, hopefully you'll read my white pill book if it ever gets done. It'll be done in like a couple months, and you'll enjoy it, and that'll give you some perspective on why I think I'm absolutely certain I think that we're gonna win, because I look at Jim Acosta, and it's very hard to think this person is going to be an unstoppable